Good morning, everyone. This is the March 28th, 2024 Board of Directors meeting for the Maryland Environmental Service. It is 9:30, so we are going to go ahead and get started this morning. First, we have the minutes from February 29th, 2024. If there are any corrections that anyone would like to offer, please do so at this time. And if there are none, we can assume that they are approved by consensus. And Ms. Frketic, it looks like you're up next with the Executive Director's Report.
I am. Good morning, everyone. And
can I ask a
question here?
Excuse
this
me.
is my first. Who's talking?
Do we have to make sure that call for the number of directors before we go on? To make sure that they're open, I mean that they are sufficient for us to proceed. Do we need to do that? Call.
Minutes or
we have a quorum.
We have a quorum. We're okay.
Okay, so you're just gonna make the statement. That's fine. I'm okay.
Oh, yeah. We now have 6 board members. I have Ms. Heller, Judge Smolkin, Mr. Botts, Mr. Witt, Ms. Jose, and Dr. Johnson.
Okay.
Okay, we're in good shape then. Great. Thank you. Okay, Pam. Next slide. Our credit card, the expense reports for the month. Dr. Glass had registration for the Mid-Atlantic Utility Conference that's coming up the beginning of April. And we've also prepaid for lodging for the Mako Summer Conference for both him and me. I've also registered for the Mid-Atlantic Conference. And I had mileage and travel and parking to go down to Annapolis for our budget hearing in the Senate. Okay, the next one, staff. I've got staff news. We have a new chief of procurement. You didn't know we were doing this.
Hello.
So Winsome has accepted the chief position, and she's been acting since November 1st, but she is now official. We've been really excited because she's already started implementing changes. Staff has noticed this. It's very positive things are happening down in procurement. And I'm a little sad because she's not my internal auditor anymore officially, but she has been generously willing to help me find a new one, and also is acting auditor for the time being until we get somebody in place. Slide. Okay, the Mid-Atlantic Utility Conference, like I said, is coming up at the beginning of the month. This is being hosted by Chesapeake section of AWWA, American Water Works, and the Chesapeake Water Environment Association, of which I'm a board member. We're going to be, let's see, I have been a member of the steering committee for this conference, and we'll be chairing a panel discussion on balancing regulatory mandates with cost management Tuesday morning. And then Wednesday morning, Dr. Glass will be participating in a panel discussion titled Moving the Needle on DEI. Next. Okay, here are the external engagements. These are Dr. Glass's. The only one, we did put Department of Agriculture on there. I had a conversation, and so has Kanish, because Department of Agriculture has asked for some assistance with procurement. So we're going to be hopefully working with them. Right, next. Recruitment. Here are our recruitment activities. First of all, I would like to say that our summer internship program posting closed February 29th. We got 216 applications, which is more than double which we received last year. We plan on hiring 19 interns, and then we're going to share the resumes. We've been asked by, is it DNR and MDE, I think, to share the resumes with them. But we're getting first pick. Then they can have the rest. Also, spring recruitment, first quarter of 24, we attended 30 events. There were 12 in March. We have 6 planned for April and 2 in May. One of the engagements that Dr. Glass and Melissa Slatnick and Tiff Bradshaw went to was at Woodstock Job Corps. We have staff that operate the wastewater facility there, and you've seen a presentation on that a couple times. They spoke with an assembly of 255 students training in electrical and mechanical fields. And we talked about apprenticeship programs that MES has to offer. Stephanie is going to report on vacancies and onboarding activities when she gives the HR report, so I'm not going to steal her thunder. We're gonna let her do that. All right, Women's History Month. Next slide. There we are. There we go. So we had a panel discussion for Women's History Month, and we had a great turnout. It was on March 19th, and Candace Gray, who is Education and Outreach Associate for the Maryland Commission on Civil Rights, was the event moderator. Panelists were Erin Lanigan, who's Chief of MES Safety and Environmental Compliance, Carrie Strong, who was a wastewater treatment plant operator from our southern region, and Danielle Wilson, Deputy Division Chief of Solid Waste in the Environmental Operations Group. And Melissa Slatnick was the host and introduced everybody. And it was a really good event. We had a lot of good questions. The panelists did a great job. Great, next, let's see, we don't have anything on the EEO, any pictures for the EEO training, but one of our best goals this year is to provide EEO training to 50% of the hiring managers, which is 169 staff members. HR is holding these classes. They've had 2 so far that were held both in person as well as virtual. I went last week, it was great. And we have already trained 149 hiring managers out of the 169 we need to train. So the third class is this afternoon. We have over 100 people signed up. So we should, knock on wood, easily meet this goal. And then upcoming field visits. The first one, we had planned to hold a birding event on at Hart Miller Island on April 25th after the board meeting. I think we're probably going to change the location given the current events that are going on in Baltimore. So stay tuned for that, but we do want to have a birding event with Tim Carney. And then May 10th, just a reminder that we're hosting the Swana Regional Rodeo at Midshore 2. We have a national title holder who is going to be defending his title, Mr. Logan Milby. So let's see, this is a regional event, so it's going to include Pennsylvania and New Jersey competitors, but we are hosting this for, the Mid-Atlantic chapter of Swana. And then other planned activities, we just don't have dates for them now, but we're going to go to the Freedom Wastewater Treatment Plant in Sykesville, and then there's going to be, we're going to go to Howard County and see one of the Mesonet observation towers. So stay tuned for those dates.
Ellen?
Yes.
Speaking of the recent events at the Key Bridge, have we been contacted by anybody? Has MES been contacted by anybody to be involved, or is it too early?
Pam, you got an email from somebody, right? But not for us to be involved. It was just, it just went out. Oh, Melissa did. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were, some of our staff that supports permitting for DNR, they are helping with some of the permit reviews for the potential cleanup. One of our staff that works out at Maryland Historic Trust were contacted to do to provide a letter about the presence or absence of cultural resources in the area before they go and clean up. And then also we have one staff member that supports the Energy Administration, and their task force has been set up. So she may have shifts for MEA.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that update.
Okay, and then the last thing I want to mention, last 2 things actually. The board of directors, we're supposed to hold an organizational meeting every year where you elect officers, members of standing committees, etc. So we're proposing to combine the July organizational meeting with the monthly board meeting, and then follow it by the mandatory annual training, just kind of get everything out of the way at one time. So Pam is in the process of drafting the agenda. We're getting this all planned out, and you will be notified. Hopefully everybody will be available and we can get this taken care of. And then the last item that I want to mention really briefly is that employee engagement survey results. And this is our third agency-wide employee engagement survey, and our Director of Government Affairs, Jeff Tosi, is going to be talking about it.
Okay, well, thank you, Ellen. Good morning, board members, everybody. So we do an annual employee engagement survey, which we send out anonymously to every MES employee. We've done it for the past 3 years. It originally started as part of a SWOT analysis, so strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats analysis, when we were developing our new strategic plan, which was approved by the board in July 2022. Yeah, 2022. For the past 3 years, we've sent this survey out. Each year, as you can see from the graphic, we've had an increase in the amount of responses. So I think that's good. You can go to the, actually, hold on. The survey consists of 35 questions. The first 26 are multiple choice, where a statement is made and the respondent is asked to select what best view they have. And the choices are strongly agree, neutral, not agree nor disagree, or strongly disagree. And so generally speaking, and you can go to the next slide now. Generally speaking, the responses are very positive across the board. They have been for the past 3 years, but they've been increasing in terms of the combination of all the strongly agree is like the green, the neutrals is in the blue, and then the combination of the disagree or strongly disagree are in the red. So we've had positive responses for the past 3 years. I think it's been a good litmus test for where we are headed as an organization in terms of culture, the outlook that everybody has about an MES as an employee. So I think it's been a good experience. Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, the positives outperform the negatives in every question. That was not true in 2022. There was one where it was kind of even, but for the most part, throughout the 3 years, the positive responses have strongly outperformed negative responses. You can go to the next slide. And then I just wanted to highlight the 3 most positively responded questions. We've done this where we kind of took the 3 most positively responded questions each year, and actually it's kind of remained consistent. So the first one up here, letter A, I have a good working relationship with my colleagues, has appeared as one of the highest, best performing questions for the past 3 years. Last year it was the 3rd, and in the first year it was still the top performing question. And we also identified the question number 16 as another very strong, positively performing question. MES provides excellent customer service to our clients and business partners. And then in terms of benefits, MES, we didn't list the question there. The question was, oh, we didn't list the question. Sorry. I have it in the book here, but the question relates to the employees' feelings on the benefits that MES provides to its employees. Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Jo?
I can hold on till you're done, Mr. Tosi.
I'm fine to answer a question right now.
Just a quick question. Was the survey anonymous?
Yes, it's fully anonymous. We send it out through our communications team, and we do not ask anybody to identify themselves, and we just simply receive a compilation of the responses back. That's one of the, I mean, it's one of the most important things, I think, is to allow people to be as honest and as honest and critical as they would like to be and not feel like there's gonna be any retribution, so it's fully anonymous, correct?
Thank you.
Yeah, and next slide. And then we also, because we wanna be fully transparent, wanna look at the 3 most negatively responded questions. So these are questions that have the highest level of people who say, you know, they disagree, or they strongly disagree, or they don't really have a positive thing to say, like negative, like neutral. Still, you know, even with the 3 most negatively responded questions, the positives are still outweighing the negatives significantly, so that's the takeaway here. But for the 3rd straight year, it looks like compensation is the top of the list. Even though I think we've had a pretty significant increase over the last 3 years, I think just people generally are feeling the pain because of inflation, so. You know, in some cases, I'm gonna guess that even though people have received significant increases, the rate of inflation has exceeded their compensation, which means that they still feel like their income is negatively impacted somehow. Whether or not they believe there are good career opportunities, so this one relates to upward mobility. And the general consensus is that yes, people generally feel like there are good career opportunities at MES. The 72% of people who participated in the survey responded positively to that, although more people responded negatively than most other questions. So 11% felt like no, that's not that they don't have good career opportunities. So, and then the third one is that people feel listened to and they want their ideas considered. Again, 11% didn't feel like that's happening here, but 72%, almost exactly the same as question B. Almost 72% feel that they are listened to. So yeah, while we have the 3 most negatively responded questions, it's still pretty positive in my view. Next slide. Actually, the last slide, I think. So what do we do with this information? So yes, we collected, we have shared the findings with the leadership team. And then each year, over the last 2 years, Dr. Glass has presented the findings and presented some themes that have resulted from the 9 fill in the blank responses, where people have the ability to we'll ask a question and we'll give them a chance to make an open-ended comment, and there's no limit to the amount that they can write. So it's unlike the first 26, which are multiple choice. So we'll take some common themes and then we'll create a task list of items that we feel that will respond to those either criticisms or suggestions for improvement or whatever. We'll communicate the results of the survey to staff, we'll communicate it to senior leadership, we'll develop an action plan, and then we're gonna monitor progress for implementation items over the course of the year. And then, you know, in February of next year, we're gonna do the same thing over again. And just so we're clear, the survey consists of the same exact questions every year. So we don't tweak the questions. We, you know, for consistency's sake, we're not doing anything with the survey. We're just giving out the same questions. So it's consistent and sort of in a way scientific in that respect. So does anybody else have any questions with this? Other than Ms. Joe? Judge? No questions? All right.
Okay. So we can move on to back to our chair. Oh, no, we got another question.
That's just us. Oh, Molly.
No,
Maybe she had
Molly's
her hand
got
up
another
before.
question. Yeah.
Thanks, Mrs. Taussig. So you're going to bring this back to the board after the next survey so we could see the analysis, as you mentioned?
Yeah,
From previous-
You mean next year or?
Yes, so we,
Yes, we've got some information that we can share with the board members as well in terms of some analysis of the year by year comparison. I can share that information. I didn't want to put too much on all the slides because it can get very kind of mundane with all the percentages and whatnot, but we have, you know, for example, we can present to you the items that we followed up on in 2022, 2023, and 2024, and where we are with implementing any changes or suggestions for improvement. So, you know, the idea is at the end of the 5 years, we're gonna have 5 surveys, 5 lists of things that our employees told us they would like to happen, and then what we did to implement those things. And we can provide you with like a progress report on those if you would like.
that'd be great. Thank you, Mr. Telsey.
You got it?
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you. That was that's the wonderful news, actually, is what I would say. As you mentioned, Jeff, even the most negative answers were pretty positive. So I'd say that MES is doing a great job as far as employee satisfaction goes.
Thanks.
Okay, and now we have the new business report. So if any of the board members have any comments, feel free to ask. And if staff has any comments they would like to offer, feel free to jump in. Terrific. Okay, financial report, Mr. Patel.
Good morning. As we
Morning.
just heard from Mr. Tosi, that most of our employees are very satisfied with the benefits, their career opportunities, their peers. So that shows in this charts. We are doing exceptionally well in our financial performance. For the left, if you look at the green bar, 21 million fiscal year 23 actual, we increased the budget, by expected salary increases. So the budget for fiscal year 24 is 22.9. And right now, as of February, our actual, we are at 23.9, almost 24 million. So we are almost 11% over last year. Yep. The average salary increases was about 4%, and the other 7% is coming from increased projects, increased labor. So those results reflect very well on our net earnings. Every single group, the water, wastewater, environmental dredging, environmental operations, technical services, they all are up, but there are 2 significant increases. Environmental dredging and restoration is up by 15%, and technical and environmental services is up by almost 16%. So we are doing very well as far as the billable labor is concerned. Next slide, please. So this chart shows actuals as of this year, February 2024, versus the last year. And as you can see in the last column, the increases are significant. The labor sales up by 11.13%, which results in 2,726,000. Billable hours are significantly higher. It is 59,000 higher than the last year, which is 7.36%. Our overhead variance is almost 796,000 higher, which adds to the net earnings. Our fringe variance is almost 820,000. So every single category, we are doing much better than budgeted, much better than expected. As a result, our increase in net assets, which is actual this year, is 5.7 million versus 3.3 million last year, which is almost 2.3 million higher. Our revenues, which are also, last year was 122.6 million. This year is 129.3 million. The revenues, some part of it affects our net earnings, but not all of it, because a lot of this is passed through. So when we increase the revenue, the independent contractors, the vendors in Maryland also benefit from that. So our revenues are almost 6.7% higher than the last year, and about 60, I would say about 70% pass through the third party contractors and vendors.
Mhm.
Next page. So this is the most important analysis here. Our budget full year, the labor sales were expected to be 39.8 million. The second column shows the actual as of February 2024. Based on that actual amounts as of February 2024, we do projection, how the fiscal year will end. The projection is fairly accurate, but not 100% accurate, because this is a straight line projection. Sometimes we may incur unexpected expenses in the next 4 months. So this is the best estimate we have as of now. The labor sales are expected to be 41.6 million, which is 1.7 or almost 1.8 million higher than the budgeted. The major difference is in the overhead expense. We have many vacancies in overhead positions, so the overhead is significantly less than the budgeted. We are filling those positions, and very likely by the end of this fiscal year, we will have almost all of those positions filled. But that savings is a huge amount of savings over the budget, 2.2 million, which is reflected in our net earnings. The fringe variance is not that significant because it varies. One of the other things that I would like to mention is the other income. We had budgeted 485,000. Looks like we're gonna wind up with 1.3 million because the interest rate is still holding up. It is we are having a good interest income. So we have increase in net assets. If everything goes according to what the history shows, we will have the net earnings will be 7.2 million, which is very high. So what are we gonna do with it? So I have some proposals that we will still monitor the next few months, but how we intend to spend this higher earnings. The first priority is the investment in technology. We are looking at the workday enhancement. We're gonna have the modules, the software updates, the consultants. One of the important things is that we are looking for a customer portal, which will make it easier for our customer to submit payments and look at their history, look at their open invoices, their payment history, all that. So we are working on that customer portal, and that is one of the enhancements we're gonna do. The other one is we are exploring the possibilities of training modules. We're gonna have workday training modules. We're gonna have independent purchase training modules. So we are concentrating on that, and we will spend this excess earnings towards the training technology. The good news is that we have almost I would say 125 water wastewater treatment plants. Until now, the operators they will take the readings of this required readings on a paper form, and there are 8 or 10 readings every visit. All that was done in the paper form. They will bring it to the headquarters, and then it will be entered in the software. We are purchasing 150 tablets where every operator, every inspector will carry the tablet with the software pre-installed in it. So they will enter the results right away. It will communicate. I would say it will communicate instantly with our headquarters lab results, and will inform the operator instantly if the results are not as expected. So this is going to have a lot of improvement in our reporting. We are not charging any of the customers for this. MES will pay from this overhead, purchase of all the tablets and the installation of the Rio software. I'm also proposing that we're gonna contribute $500,000 towards our employee retirement fund. This year, the employee retirement fund is doing good because of the stock market is doing very well. Those money are invested by PNC Investments. We're gonna put 500,000 more. We did that a couple of years ago also. If we put that 500,000 more this year, that will reduce our liability for the future. So we are planning to use that. And I think that's all because and of course, we will increase, we plan to increase after board's approval, the payment of Best and Best Plus this year because we are doing so well financially. Any questions on this so far?
So are you getting recommendations from the employees about what things they could do internally to, and not pass it on to the particular, and not have to pass that cost on to the particular people we're doing the services for? So just question is whether or not we're getting, are we getting things from employees?
Yes, for the tablet, this requirement for the tablet was, the discussion was going on for almost more than a year. So since we have the funding, because there was even formulas calculated how we're gonna charge the customers, but since we have an access, we say, okay, we're gonna buy it, not charge the customer. And I think the technology advances came from IT and the HR, because we want to buy the training module. So that input was taken into consideration also. I don't know about the other groups, but we are always open, and I told that in some of our internal meeting that if you have a technological needs or any needs, please let me know and we'll find the budget for it. So yes, sir, we are also getting the input from the employees and the management.
Thanks.
Okay, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Next up, we have the Human Resources Report. Ms. Patton.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
We are back below 4% with our vacancy rate at 3.8 this month. We have 30 vacant positions and 8 of those are brand new positions not being backfilled by someone who departed. We also onboarded 9 new employees in March. So that has been great and steady numbers coming in. And we are beginning to make offers to our summer interns. That's really all we have.
Well, that is fantastic. We are staying below the 5% mark.
Yeah.
And far below at this point. Wonderful. Excellent. And in her new role, Ms. Condra will be presenting our procurement today. Congratulations, Ms. Condra. We are very excited to have you on board as the new Chief of Procurement.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. Good morning, everyone. So this morning we have 14 procurement items, so bear with me. The first procurement item is from our water wastewater group from the engineering services division. And this is going to be a change order for the project beneficial reuse services for dewatering lime stabilized biosolids at the Dorsey Run Advanced Wastewater Treatment Plant. The contractor is Padlands LLC, and the amount of this change order is $146,775. And this revised the total contract amount to $289,275. The MBE participation goal was set at 23%. To date, they are at 66.8%. So they're doing very good.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor for approval of procurement item number 1?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Are there any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign for those opposed. Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Number 2.
So this is from the Water and Wastewater Group, also their engineering service division, and this is another change order for the project Point Lookout State Park Water and Sewer System Improvements. And the contractor is Stormwater Management Solutions LLC. The amount of this change order is $326,643 approximately, and the revised total contract amount is $12,445,584. And the goal set for the MBE is at 19%. The participation achieved to date is 20.5%.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions or comments on procurement item number 2? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you. Procurement item number 3.
So this is for the group Environmental Ops, and it's another change order for the project ECI cogeneration plant boiler fuel conversion. And the contract is WM Schlosser Company Incorporated. And this change order is for the amount of $1.5 million approximately. And the revised total contract amount is $14,733,130. The MBE goal participation is set at 17% and achieved. It's at 15.1%. However, after several bills, their expectation is to meet their goal or problems exceeded.
Thank you. Is there a motion for approval?
I have a quick question on this item.
Okay.
So this is an extension of a equipment rental term. Is this project, the cogen boiler fuel conversion, is it behind schedule, or was this not foreseen in the original contract, or, why is there an extension here?
Okay, so during startup and commissioning, the startup procedure, they found that the induction fans that were in place prior, the older induction fans, even with the ability to reduce through estimated through a variable frequency drive, were oversized, and so it delayed the startup. And we had to do some analysis to make sure that we can maintain balanced draft. It's important in these older boilers that we maintain balanced draft and not positive draft. There's safety issues with CO2, carbon monoxide in the building. And so we had to redesign the induction fans and then get them ordered. There's a lead time of about 10 weeks on those, so it's going to delay the project through June. And we had to continue with temporary utilities until that point.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead. That's it.
No, I was just going to ask, is the cost of the induction fan replacement kind of covered within the project, or is that an additional item?
No, that'll be an additional once we through it, and that's capital money, so that'll go through the Board of Public Works as well. But that is being finalized now. They have we have gotten an order in, but we're still working out the costs because we have to include the installation piece of that.
Okay,
with the new
thank you,
paint.
that's helpful.
Mhm.
Okay, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you. Number 4.
Number 4 is from the Environmental Operations Group. Again, this is another change order for the ECI project, cogeneration plant boiler fuel conversion. And the contractor is WM Schlosser Company Incorporated. And amount of this change order is $208,653. Where the total contract amount would increase to $14,914,783. The MBE goal again is set at 17%, and as mentioned before, they are looking to exceed that after these change orders.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion?
I just have one quick question.
Yes, Mr. Botts.
So is the bulk of this cost just additional labor to continue that work through this extension period?
No, this was related to a longstanding negotiation regarding conditions that were discovered during demolition that were not in the original scope. So it was just a negotiation and closure on those items. And it's in the description of the, you'll find it at that in the description of the item.
Thank you.
The additional utilities, strictly utility rental.
Are there any other questions? That was a good question.
Mhm.
Okay, all those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Number 5.
This is for the group, Technical Environmental Services for the project, Baltimore County Stormwater Mapping and Condition Assessment Services. This is awarded to Rommel, Kelper and Call LLP. And this, just to note that this is from our GIS shortlist for the amount of $465,297. And the MBE goal set for this is 45.2%.
Thank you, Ms. Condra. Is there a motion
So move.
and a second?
Second.
Mhm.
Okay, are there any questions or discussion on this item? And I do see that Ms. Joes will be abstaining from procurement item number 5.
Mhm.
Okay, hearing no questions or discussion, all those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this is approved with Ms. Joes abstaining. Thank you. Number 6.
Mhm.
This is for the group again, Technical and Environmental Services for the project Stormwater Drainage Construction SHA Districts 3 and 5. And this was awarded to AB Construction Incorporated for the amount of $8,646,322. And the MBE goal set for this is 14%.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second for approval. Are there any questions or is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any, anyone not in favor? Okay, procurement item number 6 has been approved unanimously. Thank you. Number 7.
This is again from the group Technical and Environmental Services for the project Stormwater Drainage Construction SHA Districts 4 and 7. And this was awarded to Bronner Builders Incorporated for the amount of $8,392,286. And the MDE goal set for this is 14%.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Is there any discussion or are there any questions? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous approval of number 7. Number 8.
USA
Procurement
Environment.
number 8.
Got a mic problem.
And repeat everything?
I don't know.
I know that I didn't hear anything on number 8 for some reason. I'm not sure if it was just me.
I think Jesse's trying to fix it.
It was all of us, but I can hear you now.
We can hear you now.
Okay, all right.
Video is off. Yeah, something happened with the microphone. It switched or something. So I can start over with number 8.
Technical, so this is for the Technical and Environmental Services and for the project MDE Howard Floodplain Mapping Phase 2. And again, this is important that this came from one of our short lists, the GIS one, and it's awarded to the WSP, USA Environment and Infrastructure Incorporated for the amount of $360,377. And the MDE goal is 19.4%.
Okay, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Are there any questions or items for discussion? And I would like to note that Ms. Joes will be abstaining from the vote on procurement number 8. Okay, hearing no feedback, all those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand and say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries with the abstention of Ms. Joes. Number 8.
Nine.
Number 9, yeah.
Yes, number 9, sorry.
This is for the group, Technical and Environmental Services again, for the project Maryland Engineering, Energy Administration. And it's for their energy, technical and engineering analysis of the commercial, industrial, institutional, and governmental energy programs. It was awarded to Energy Shrink LLC for the amount of $3,755,000. And the MBE goal set for this is 29%.
I had a
Wonderful.
question.
Yes, Mr. Botts.
Apologies to interrupt, Ms. Heller. I didn't mean to interrupt you. it was Energy Shrink the low bid here? For this? I mean, it looks like there was a lot of bids.
Yeah, I would say so.
No, it was technical. It was an RFP,
It's a
so
RFP.
it was technical evaluation, and then each task will be, the cost will be evaluated for each task. It's task-based, but the evaluation was technical.
Mhm,
Okay, thank you.
mhm.
Thank you, Melissa.
Okay, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Oh, 2 seconds.
Okay, are there any questions?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 10, Ms. Condra.
And the technical and environmental services for the project State Highway Administration EISD Task 7. And this is for transportation model mapping and support. This is again from our shortlist, the GIS SBR shortlist. And it was awarded to Synergy Systems and Services Incorporated for the amount of $450,509 approximately. And MBE goal is 29.42%. The prime is an MBE.
Okay, is there a motion for acceptance? For approval?
So moved.
Mhm.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, are there any questions?
Mhm.
Any discussion?
Hmm?
Okay, all those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand and say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Number 11.
So this is again from the Technical and Environmental Services. They're doing a lot of work. For the project Amazon, BWI de-icing, BWI potassium acetate tanks, and their estimated amount for this work for this project is $450,000. Right now, the MBE goal is set at 0%. There's no MBE subtracting opportunities.
Okay, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Yeah. Second.
And a second? Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or items for discussion on number 11? Okay, let's go ahead and take the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, unanimous approval. Number 12, another BWI item.
Yes, Tess is on a roll. As you mentioned, BWI de-icing, and it's estimated at $400,000, and MBE goal set is 0%.
Mhm.
And I'm guessing there is no opportunity for MBE
Yes, exactly.
like the last one. Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Wonderful. Are there any questions?
Hmm?
Okay. All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, unanimous approval.
Mhm.
Number 13, lucky 13, and almost finished.
So now it's environmental dredging and restoration turn, and this is for their project, Paul S. Sarbin's ecosystem restoration project at Popular Island. And it's awarded to McClung Logan Equipment Company for the amount of $337,792. This is a one-time purchase and the NBE goal is 0%. Mentioned in the remarks is to replace a 7-year-old machine that operates in a harsh, corrosive, thank you, environment.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mhm.
Any questions or items for discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand and say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 14.
Last but not least, this is for Environmental Operations Group, and this is for the project Ground Station, Road Sanitary, Landfill, HA, Hauling and Disposal Services. This is this is a change order and the contractor is Agri Services Corp. And the amount of the change order is $250,000, which increases the total contract amount to $985,062. The MBE goal set is 30%, and to date, they are at 50.5%.
Mhm.
Good.
Okay, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions? This is your last chance for questions as far as procurement goes today. Okay, I don't hear any questions and no discussion. So all those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this one as well has been approved, unanimous approval. Thank you very much, Ms. Condra.
Thank you.
And next we have procurement notifications, and these are contracts, purchase orders, amendments, and change orders in the range of 25,000 to 200,000. If you'd like to take a moment and look over the chart, I believe it's a 2-page chart. And if there are any questions from board members or comments from staff, please jump in.
Good.
Mhm. There's one I want to look at. 3.
Okay, thank you. I believe, Mr. Coleman, you're up next with the legal report.
Once again, I will give my monthly reminder about filing your financial disclosure statements, and also once you file those, to please send a copy to Pam Fuller. That's per the conflict of interest policy that the board has adopted.
And Sean, those are due at the end of April, correct?
The end of April, yes.
Okay.
So you get one more reminder.
Yes. There are a couple matters regarding litigation. We'll be talking to you in closed session. And the last thing is, just so you're aware, there may be some legislation that's adopted this year that will impact the bylaws of the board. So we'll be reporting to you next month about how the bylaws may have to be modified to reflect those changes.
Mhm.
So that's
Okay, thank you. And as we moved into new and old business, and in light of the catastrophic events at the Key Bridge this past week, I think it would be appropriate for us to have a moment of silence to recognize the loss of the 6 construction workers who were working on the Key Bridge and are presumed lost at this time. As our governor has said, these were fathers, brothers, and husbands. And as a board, I'd like to take a moment to send the families our thoughts and prayers. So if you could bow your heads and take that moment, I would be appreciative. Thank you. That is going to change the landscape of Maryland and our iconic landmarks for forever. So I've seen the flood of images on social media. Everybody has pictures of the Key Bridge and memories of either crossing it or crossing under it. And it is, I'm very appreciative that the May Day went out in time so that traffic could be stopped and the loss of life could be minimized. Is there any other old or new business? Okay, the next meeting will be on April 25th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. We are about to go into closed session and we will adjourn in closed session. So we will not come back out into open session. And thank you. The closed session will be closed under the general provisions article, section 3-305, subsection B, to consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation. If anyone objects to the closing of the meeting, please contact MES at www.menv.com/contact-us-/ And can we have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?